Okay, okay.
We can hear you. Can you hear us?
Yes, ma'am, I can hear you. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. We'll now call the Beaver County Board of Education agenda setting meeting to order on November 11, 2019. We need approval of the agenda.
I move we approve the agenda.
I'll second.
Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Are you in favor, Will?
Yes, fine, yes, fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, we'll now have the Pledge of Allegiance. On Veterans Day, no flag.
Yeah.
One that way somewhere.
Yeah, okay, let's look that way. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The media has been properly notified. We have two sets of meeting minutes for approval tonight. First, we'll do October 16th. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Actually, I was looking in here for the minutes.
He's looking for the
Uh,
minutes.
Robin, did you send me a copy of the agenda?
No, because I was in the car when you called to say, so give me a moment and I'll go send the stuff to you.
No.
I was on my way over here.
Are we good? So, have you already done it, or another option would be just postpone these two again?
They're done. I just
They're
need
done.
I need to email them to them.
Oh, okay. All right.
Email him the whole packet.
Take a breath, that's okay.
I'm breathing. Out of shape. Actually, the 16th are the last ones that were in your packet before.
Right, we had those before, and they're unchanged, I believe.
They're unchanged.
Did you hear that, Will? October 16th you had last time, and is unchanged. Kathy watched the video to confirm where you were present and where you weren't. And-
Okay.
Okay. And they were correct as written last time. Are you okay with that, or you want to wait till Robin is trying to email it to you right now?
No, that's fine.
Okay, So you made the motion to approve. Will you second it, Will?
Yeah, second it.
Okay. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Okay. So the next one is October 28th.
And she hasn't seen that one yet, has she?
I'm sending them right now.
Okay.
And they're sent.
I sent you to the wrong place.
You get them?
As well.
I sent you the whole folder.
Okay.
So we're looking on the October 28th agenda setting meeting minutes, the draft.
I'll say yes, ma'am.
All right, did you,
I move that we approve the minutes from October 28th.
Yeah,
also,
I'll second that.
okay. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right, now we're on to setting agenda for the next business meeting on November 19th, and we have a draft agenda in front of us.
Can you open that, William?
Yeah.
It says November 19th.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So,
I didn't adjust the time for executive session. Do you want it to be at 5 or 5:30?
so we have 3 topics.
I would suggest 5
I would too, just
Yeah.
because we always seem to,
to go over.
yeah.
William, any comment on that?
Well, that's fine. I was gonna say there wasn't really much to discuss in there, but that's fine. Yeah, I will do 5:30. That's fine. I mean 5 o'clock. That's fine.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's better that we have a break as opposed to not a break.
Okay.
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 Mhm. Go ahead.
I'm not asking to be antagonistic, I'm just curious, okay? What is the substance of what we're gonna talk to Robert Bach about?
Was listed here, the TCL, MCIP, MOU, and its validity.
Validity, okay, so he's not gonna address there's a difference of opinion between our CFO, therefore the superintendent, and the auditor on another facet of that. Is he gonna be addressing that, or just the validity of the agreement?
Well, he's gonna address it from a legal standpoint, and so I don't know exactly what that will include. So I don't think he's
Okay,
addressing
that's
it from the angle of the auditor. Okay.
And, excuse me, why is that in executive session?
Because he is going to be giving legal advice, I imagine, and he will initially start in, Robin, initially he's gonna start in public
Open
session,
Mhm.
open session,
Right.
to give a little background.
And then move
Okay,
into
good.
executive.
Yeah. And his first name is Roberts with an S.
that needs to be corrected. Alright.
R-V-E-R-T-S?
Yeah,
Okay.
like the last name is his first name.
Okay.
Alright, and the other two will be Reggie and Tanya.
Tanya.
Yeah. Okay. Then, public session at 6. Just see if we're missing anything. Alright.
How do you want me to, since he's going to start before executive session, do I need to leave it where it is?
Well, you somehow, I think, have to say that he's gonna give some comments in
Right.
open session first. Yeah, 'cause
So-
when we first
Yeah.
called to order, we're called open, it's public session, and then we say we have the need to go
Right.
into executive session. Yeah,
So
I guess
I
you
think
could ask
it's-
Wendy exactly how you should have the wording there.
Well, I think before you say the motion to go into executive session, you
Uh-huh.
can invite him up to speak, and then you can get a motion to go into executive session.
But then he should really be on the agenda in the open part.
Okay.
Because the public needs to know that he's
He's
going
coming
to
to- yeah,
address the
yeah.
public, yeah.
Exactly.
So somehow that needs to be clear.
And probably Wendy would be the one to tell you how to do it. Alright, I don't see anything else, you know, points of celebration, anything you need to add there? No, it's gonna be done similar to the way we did it,
Yeah.
last time. Public comments, the usual. Approval of minutes. Okay. Just let us know, Will, if you wanna add anything. Chairman? Okay.
I was gonna say, no, that's fine.
Okay.
Under committee reports,
Yeah.
there are gonna be, I didn't list them yet, but I
Okay.
think on the agenda, for finance, there's a PE, there will be some, I think there is a PE, is there a PE?
One's
Academics?
an
No,
academic.
well,
I think, I know they're ARs, but,
Oh, they are, maybe, yeah.
I know they're ARs for sure. There's a PE coming out of operations for HR, but I'll put them on there after the committee meetings when they vote.
So you know which ones they are.
Right.
Yeah.
But just to let you know that there are some PEs that are gonna come
Yeah,
out.
the PEs of academic, I think, are the 20th, the
Okay.
meeting of the 20th.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
think that.
Afterwards.
Yeah.
Okay,
But operations will have one,
Okay.
cause it'll be the HR report.
okay.
Also, could we, add, under approval of minutes, could we add this Friday, work session to that? Could we approve those minutes as well?
No, cause it's after the 14th.
See, we're supposed to have the documents by the Thursday night, and so, first of all, the meeting's on
Okay.
Friday, so
Okay.
they're not gonna be ready until probably Monday or Tuesday, yeah.
Monday?
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Okay. Good question, though. Alright, I think that pretty much covers down to, so the results will not have any committee report?
It might be possible, yeah,
Okay.
because we are meeting with, Dr. Rodriguez tomorrow.
Okay, so
Yeah.
let's just, we can always take you off.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah, I think we probably will be.
Okay, and, we're done with state of schools, we don't have policy. I think we're good, right?
Yeah.
That would be it, okay. Do we know what will come out of finance?
No, but I think there's a quarterly report that, that's going on their agenda, so that's a PE, so that will most likely be ready to come out. So I'll put it on there Thursday evening after the finance.
So it's one of the quarterly budget reports?
Yes,
Yeah.
is their quarterly, I think it's 4.5, so it would be their quarterly
Yeah.
financial report.
Okay. All right,
And so whatever comes out of finance, I can put on there that evening and send out to you.
Right.
Yes,
Because it's Thursday.
yes.
Okay. That would be it, I think, with the committee reports. All right, next, we're under superintendent's reports. Go ahead.
We have the fiscal responsibility, we have those three.
Yeah, monthly budget,
Mhm.
transparency, and then the contracts or,
Mhm.
yeah,
Yep.
100,000 or more. All right. Under board business action, we gotta approve the 2020 board meeting calendar.
So you told me to put it back as, with the two different places on it.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
And I think probably is, so it seems like the other part of that would be, that the board members would need would be the contract with the county channel
okay,
as a document
Okay.
in there,
okay.
yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
so that everyone, I mean,
Everybody's looking at the same thing.
everybody's looking at the same thing.
Mhm.
Gotcha.
It does, yeah, okay. Okay, William, do you have anything? Have you received any requests that you'd like to move forward?
No, ma'am.
Jeez, I put in the folder.
Yeah, I saw that.
Okay.
So I didn't know.
So some of these will be, yeah, let's finish the last
Okay.
couple
Yeah.
things I have first. So the resolution to accept the official election results.
Yep.
Is that a requirement?
Tanya says it is.
It is.
It is,
Yeah.
okay. And it seems so silly, kind of,
Thanks.
don't you think?
We don't declare elections.
Yeah, it just seems very odd to me.
The election commission declares them valid.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
then we all, in the past, we always accept what they
We
say.
could say we're happy about it, you know, but if we don't, it's like conceding an election, it means nothing if we accept it, we're not the governing
Maybe it's one of
authority
those
of that.
resolutions that's, you know, celebratory, you know how we have resolutions that are,
Yeah.
something like that, that's more ceremonial, it's ceremonial.
Yeah, maybe that's the
Yeah.
right word,
Yeah,
ceremonial.
ceremonial.
So who writes the resolution? Would Wendy
Did
be
you do-
writing the resolution? Yeah.
Was there one that we've done years ago? I couldn't-
I think, yeah, I'm pretty sure there was, but I don't know where to find a copy of it, and so.
Well, you know,
So
that would be like
okay.
2008.
Yeah.
Okay,
And you could go
okay, so-
look and see.
Yeah.
And if you can't find it, just talk to Wendy, that'll let you
Okay. I'm sure there's something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2008.
Because that was the last time.
It was
discussed.
approved.
Yeah. All right, yes,
May I suggest though that the wording on that in no way intimate that we have authority on whether the results are valid or not? Well, accept, I'm hung up on the word accept, the election results.
We've already gotten the certification that they're
I mean-
valid, yes, that was
Yeah.
sent to us.
Right, right, so we acknowledge them, we're happy about them, but we can't approve or disapprove them.
No, we don't
You
approve,
accept.
you just accept,
Yeah,
accept the
the
result
results, and
from
that's what
them,
it
that's all you do.
yeah.
Yep.
That's
But we're
it.
gonna vote on the resolution
to accept the
to
results.
accept the
Yeah.
results,
Yeah.
the certified results.
Results, yeah, I guess, yeah.
We didn't accept the last referendum results, that's for sure.
No. Yeah, I don't remember doing it before, didn't I?
Well,
Okay.
maybe the 2008, maybe you can find in the.
Yeah, see what it says.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
All right, then consent agenda, future agenda announcements, public comments, adjournment. There's nothing there. I can, so under board, well, I know from, so you have the going to the future agenda topics, other things that, for example, okay, so obviously the joint meetings is separate from this meeting, so that wouldn't apply here. The FOIA is a workshop, that wouldn't apply here. The school improvement plans, that's a separate meeting. Impact fees, the study, so, Tanya gave me an update, on the impact fees, and I actually will come to the December 9th meeting, because the company,
Okay,
Tischler, that's doing them, has to now tweak them to some degree because the referendum was successful. That actually affects the results, and they can't do that to have it ready by Thursday night for us to have them.
well, I also saw on county council, their list of meetings, they are having 2 discussions about impact fees.
Okay,
Did,
I had Robin actually call them to
Yeah, and
give
what-
to get the details, but it's none of the school board stuff,
Oh, it isn't?
unfortunately, no.
Okay.
Because I was gonna attend
Yeah,
if it was,
yeah, I
it's
was too,
not.
I was thinking, okay.
No.
They're
Okay,
not, he said they're not talking about school impact fees at all.
okay,
I should say. So impact fees is gonna go on the 9th, TCL, MCIP we got on here. Second reading for policies is gonna have to be, I think, that's gonna be a workshop, I would
yeah, it's gonna
say.
have to be a special
Yeah.
call.
And I think the policy on handling grievances would be part of, as a result of that discussion. And reestablishment policy committee is would I think go under there.
So, what about the request? So,
I have some others, let's see.
Yeah. the, process of developing the selection committee, if you
Yeah.
could make a statement about that, define that a little bit, are you ready to talk about that, do you think?
On which day?
This one,
On the
On the
19th?
19th? Not specific, just kind of the process, an outline of the process, or?
I think,
or give an update,
yeah,
And
give an update, I think
an
would be.
update, yeah.
update on,
On, just sort of some initial steps that we, may need to line up.
and that would be, seems like that would go under fiscal responsibility under your superintendent's report, it seems like that's where it would fit best. Yeah. Are you finished?
Yeah.
Mr. Dowd?
Actually, there were 2 requests around the advisory group. Is the one that Tricia Friedrich made, and then I expanded.
And
my
you, I
request-
have it here, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, I
include
have
the
it here.
parameters and.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
but I think that it sounds to me like he's maybe not ready to address these parameters.
Well, I would hope that at the minimum, we can get when those parameters will be decided. Because that's what the public's interested in, I think.
Well, to me, these parameters are part of the answer to that question. I mean, that's what the things that Dr. Rodriguez has to put in line, like what is, what's the outline of their job, basically? What do you envision?
Yeah, this-
That's the boundaries,
I
right?
think
The
there's
outline of the
considerable,
job.
I think there's considerable confusion on the street about who gets the deliverables from that advisory group. Is it you or the board, okay? Either you or the board bound by those deliverables, et cetera, et cetera. And that's what I think has to, the sooner we discuss that, the better off
That's
we'll
what-
be, because cement.
That's what you're hearing? So,
I'm sorry?
so what you're hearing is confusion around the deliverables?
What are the board's deliverables? What is the group's deliverables?
Right.
To whom are they deliverable to? Okay, what are their parameters? And are either you or us bound by any conclusions that are drawn up by that? Let me put it another way. My own view is that they're an extra set of eyes for you. Okay, I'm not interested in what they have to say. They're gonna be a benefit for you. You come to us and tell us what is so. That's my take on it, but that's not necessarily everybody else's take. So I think that cement hardens, and the quicker we get an accurate description out on the street as to what that board does and doesn't do. I mean, they're still debating what the community referendum group did and didn't do, okay, and the referendum's over. The sooner we get this settled, I think the better off we'll be, and we can start showing the credibility.
So John, one more time for my benefit, based on what you're hearing out there, what are the deliverables from the group? Who gets the deliverables, right?
Right.
And you had a third thing.
Is anybody bound by them? Okay.
What do you mean by bound?
Yeah, in other words, I think you're saying if the committee says this, then we have to do this, or we don't have to do this.
Right,
That's what you're saying, right?
Are we yeah, what is the power
But
of the committee?
I don't think you can, I think,
But I don't think, John, that you know, in terms of being bound by it, right? I mean, you're elected officials, right?
not exactly.
You know what I mean? And so
Yeah.
you're bound to the constituents that elect you, you know what I mean? And I think,
Exactly,
You
and
know?
that's what I'd like to see stated,
yeah,
so that people don't think out on the street that this board can come over in and dictate to the board about what opinion it's gonna have on whether the money's being spent right or not, okay? Hypothetically, the advisory board, I think, the way that you're envisioning it, could come to the board and say, I think this expenditure was unwarranted, okay? That's advice to you, not to us. You can tell us whether you think, whether you agree with them, okay, or not. So we're not gonna be bound just because an advisory group says that this was warranted or unwarranted.
I don't think you can
I don't
be-
think
oh.
it's advisory, I thought it was an oversight group.
Hmm?
I didn't think
Well,
that I
then
ever
why do
heard
we
him
call
use
it an
the-
advisory
I didn't think we
committee?
did,
Yes.
we called it an
We-
oversight.
We had one in the 2000 referendum when they built Beaufort High, Bluffton, and some other schools. And what they did, they made sure that the money was spent the way it was supposed, what the referendum said.
Right,
They also made sure that any change orders, they check on those, and then they came and reported to the board.
yeah.
And to Earl's point,
And they report that publicly
Right.
at a board meeting.
Right.
right.
Yeah.
and to Earl's point though, is that oversight done prior to expenditures or after the expenditure? Those things, I'm not stating a preference, but those things have to be decided.
Yeah, I think if if we're looking for oversight prior to expenditures being done, yeah, then we might as well count this as as projects that'll be completed in about 30 years. Because the work has to happen.
Right.
You know, and these
Before.
people can report quarterly to the board
Right.
and say, we've reviewed the expenditures for the last quarter here with respect to the referendum, and, you know, whatever, here's what we found.
And that's fine, but we
Yeah.
just gotta say it.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, because otherwise, you know, the projects are gonna go,
Right,
Yeah.
Plus,
you know.
yeah.
plus it would be, I think, usurping the authority of you and the board.
It would be,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah.
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 That's
Yeah.
where
But we
dictated
just
by law,
gotta
what we
define
have
it
to do.
for the people so that
Okay.
everybody's on the same page. That's all I'm saying.
So on the agenda, is it gonna be called
Got it.
update on process of developing the selection committee?
I think we should just leave it as update on maybe like next steps, referendum next steps, or something like that.
Leave it
Because
raw.
that'll give me an
Right.
opportunity, not
Yeah.
just to maybe attack this, but a couple of other things that need to sort of fall in line.
One last short point, okay? If you read like a Shannon Bedenbauer letter, the public is saying, well, it can't get misspent because we have a citizen advisory group. Okay? They think that the citizen advisory group, even though it's more oversight, has the authority to prevent something from being spent. We don't agree, I don't think anybody thinks that to be the case, but we've got to explain that to people.
Well, we're legally bound how we
Exactly.
spend it based
Right.
on what's in the referendum.
Right.
What was put on the referendum, we're we're
the
legally
things.
bound to spend the money that way.
Au contraire. Contraire. And the referendum gives us the ability to borrow $344 million for these projects. These projects are not spec'd out yet. They haven't picked out the doors. They could spend gold doors or wood doors, okay?
Well,
all right?
I differ with you.
The referendum is merely permission to borrow the money, that's all. And it doesn't even require that those projects be done at all.
Oh, I think that's not true. That's
yeah,
not
They
true.
weren't on the ballot. They
Yes,
were
they
not
were
on
on the ballot.
If you don't spend that money the referendum says, then you have to.
Hey, John, look, here's the other thing. I've been across this county talking to people about what we're gonna do,
Yeah.
okay? I mean, I'm not okay with a project coming out of left field, you know, and saying, hey, all of a sudden, we're gonna buy a boat, okay? All right? No way, right? I mean, I've been across this county telling people what we're gonna do. I mean, that's my integrity, you know?
I'm not advocating for.
I know you're not.
The only thing I'm advocating for is that we do not believe our own publicity.
But John,
Okay.
they were listed on the ballot.
Huh?
Each of those items were listed on the ballot. Go back and look at the
And it
ballot.
gives us permission to borrow the money to do
For
it.
those specific things on the ballot.
Yeah, but there are a lot of discretionary decisions within those projects.
Okay, but,
that have
yeah,
to be
yeah,
made.
but,
It's all right, we get off track a little bit.
Okay.
Alright,
And
so
Mr.
what-
Ronning's gonna be a very busy boy.
So, Robin, did you get the way it needs to be
Update
worded?
on referendum next steps.
Okay,
Yeah.
is that good?
I think so.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I think it's better.
Yeah,
It's
better,
not
yeah.
just, yeah. All right, so I know Robin is working, because, you know, I talked last week about lots of these extra meetings, and, like the Beaufort delegation, you had a tentative date for that.
The Beaufort delegation, talked to Cindy, and we're looking at the first Tuesday in December, I think that's December 3rd. And it would have to be a meeting during the day, it's a work session, they would consider it a work session.
Yeah, it is December 3rd.
So they're looking at that date.
And so would that be something,
And I told her that the agenda topics was our priority list. So I gave her all the things that were in our letter, that, and I also gave her the letter, so she received the letter last week that she's giving to the delegation. And I said that would be, the conversation would be the list in our the topics in our letter.
but that, I don't know, to me, that doesn't seem like something that would take all day.
No,
No.
no, when I said work session, well, they couldn't call it a meeting because their meeting's in the evening time, so she called it a work session, and I said about an hour, hour and a half.
So what time?
We didn't give a time, so that's kinda like up in the air, and she was working just on that date first. But I told her I would give her what
This is
what
December 3rd.
what you all wanted.
Yeah, it's a Tuesday.
This would be the Beaufort legislative delegation meeting with the whole
Special,
board.
it's a special meeting.
Yes, for about an hour and a half.
Yeah.
So my preference would be, because there's other of those of us that
That
work,
work,
the
right.
later in the
Yeah.
day, the better, honestly.
Okay,
Yeah.
after 3, 4.
Yeah. Like 4 might be ideal, 4 to 5:30. I don't know what time their evening
I would
meets.
say my preference is possibly early in the day if we could.
Like what time are you talking about?
Maybe if we did it at 3.
Is that something the superintendent attends?
It probably would be good. Do you have something else that day?
No,
Oh,
no, no, I'm just asking, I just
Yeah.
wanna make sure I'm where I'm supposed to be, that's all.
Yeah.
Is any-
Is the county manager gonna be there?
Is what?
Is the county manager gonna be there?
No, that's not county.
this isn't the
This is,
county council.
this is the Beaufort
Delegation.
legislative,
Oh, the-
Beaufort County legislative delegation. Nothing to do with the county manager.
Okay, I got you.
Okay. And part of it may depend when is their meeting in the evening?
They don't have one, but
Oh.
I can ask her, is this going to be, I told her my understanding this would be a joint meeting between Beaufort County School Board and the delegation.
Right,
So that's what she's saying, since it was a joint meeting, we should list it like as a work session type meeting for about an hour and a half. She said they do their work session kind of meetings in the daytime.
Uh-huh.
So I said I would come back to the board and find out, because I didn't have a parameter of time, other than it'd be probably about an hour, hour and a half at the most. So,
Is anybody, since it is time constrained, is anybody gonna work with the representative from the delegation to define what the outcomes, to visualize what the outcomes of this meeting are? Or are we gonna spend the first part of that hour trying to say, getting to know you and get acquainted and then decide what we're gonna talk about?
no, they
Well,
know,
she just,
they're talking about our
Priorities.
legislative priorities. They have the letter, they
Yeah.
received the letter last week, and that would be the topic of conversation. That's what those
All right, so
priorities
that's
are.
what the meeting is about then,
Yeah.
to
So-
discuss the
Right.
contents of the letter. Okay, great,
well, it's really the agenda for the next legislative session,
okay.
starting in January.
Right,
really.
and that's why she tried to do it December so that we can get in there before the.
They go into session.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So the advantage of doing it later in the day, I see, is that public can attend. I see the advantage, I really think, I don't know, do you wanna speak with her
Mhm.
to see, like 4 o'clock, I think would be
Yeah,
better
4 o'clock would be good.
would be better, especially for parents
Okay.
of school children. Now maybe, that's not an option, or maybe 5 o'clock's better for them,
Okay.
yeah.
So,
Okay.
okay.
Alright, so the, Beaufort, County Council, you were still working on?
I talked with Sarah at Beaufort County Council. Once again, she said that would be a work session, and, what would the topic be? Told her I didn't know what the agenda would be for county council other than, funding. And we have no dates, no
Nothing.
anything, so I told her I'd come back to you all to find out, when you're kinda looking at doing this. Her question was, were we trying to get it done in December, or can we push it to the first of the year?
I thought the purpose was just to start some dialogue and to, so that we're, not running to them at budget time, talking about things. We're trying to build that relationship.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
way that I saw it.
So as an agenda topic, what do we say, it's relationship building? I mean, no,
Understanding our, kind of a dialogue about our,
Budgetary
budget,
needs.
yeah, our budget, a dialogue about our,
Budgetary needs.
about how long?
That and a relationship building, because there are other conversations that we need to have too, because there also could be concerns in other areas. So I would want to make it one specific thing, and then when they get there, we start talking about a couple other things, because we've thought about other things along the way.
So you'd rather have the title be relationship building? We have to have, so then,
Yeah.
What about
Yeah, I think
something along the lines
relationship
of,
building would be the appropriate title.
what about,
You say relationship building along with relationship building, maybe something along the line of as well as information about finance or something like that. Because at some point in time, I'm sure we have to inform them about our finances. But I guess maybe the first meeting could be relationship building.
so what about like, connecting for student achievement or something like that, right?
Yes.
Because part of that funding is part of a conversation about
Right.
connecting to improve outcomes for kids,
Right.
right? And the and then you could throw anything you want under that, and that's hard to disagree with.
it's
Because
very
funding
hard.
is what it is.
And-
Right.
And you're gonna have to have a relationship no matter how good or bad the funding is.
Well, and I see this as the first of, if we could establish quarterly meetings or something like this, the first of a dialogue,
wouldn't hurt.
beginning the dialogue. I'm afraid if we wrote it down as relationship, some of the county council people won't come, because they'll see it as too soft, too fluff. But
I like what you said,
connecting, I
actually.
think that's a good,
So you said connecting for student achievement? Yeah. Because that's really what we're,
Yeah.
Student
we're-
outcomes or whatever
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
want to say.
Yeah.
outcomes,
How much time?
I think it's,
think that sounds good, connect first, that's, I can go with that.
Okay, go ahead.
I think it's fair to say that the board as a body has no formal relationship with the council, really. The district administration has a relationship with certain aspects of the county government, but there's no county entity to county entity parity in a relationship, and that's what I think we're trying to establish here, is that we want the county council to deal with the board on certain matters and not necessarily the administration.
I didn't think of it that way.
Yeah.
I mean, they have the purse strings, you know,
That's right.
that's the way I look at it. They have the purse strings for the school district, and ultimately it's the board that is, with the superintendent that's, and his staff determining how these, what budgetary needs we have and what, funding we have, but really, they control our
Well,
purse strings.
yes, but we could be dialoguing with the council about why we'll adopt a budget and why we won't, okay? We got to the precipice of that last year when we passed a resolution to do all legal means to get our money back, which of course, we dropped like a hot potato as soon as the referendum passed. Nobody's ever mentioned that now in months. But nonetheless, I believe that government bodies to government bodies ought to be talking. And then the people who work for the council can talk to the people who work for the superintendent. And they can iron out the details as long as the council and the board agree in principle as to what's gonna go down.
I know that my constituents that have been at meetings with my county council person around, Chris Verschavan, the first one we had, they came up with the idea that we have joint meetings with all of us there, because they thought it was a great interchange. So, so my constituents would like to see something like that.
So I would say you asked for the time, Robin.
Yeah.
I would say like an hour and a half, sort of something similar. I think with the delegation, I don't think people are gonna wanna be there a lot longer.
Fastest hour and a half you've ever had.
Yeah.
There's 22 people that are gonna be
Yeah.
talking, and everybody's gonna wanna say something, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's 1 minute.
But I
per
can also
person here.
see everybody, if it's too long, say, oh,
Mhm.
I'm skipping
Yeah,
that.
it's a beginning, we see
Yeah.
it as a beginning,
Yeah.
It's- yeah.
So, your question about timing, it seems to me that January really would be all right, since December is a lot of,
Yeah.
Holidays, obligations
yeah.
for a lot of people, given the holidays, so,
Well, I think maybe we get the first one in before the end of the year.
yeah, I mean, part of it is what they're gonna agree to.
I mean, but we can have work to do what we do on. I don't see why not going into the new year or already having one done.
Okay, ask them.
Yeah,
Do it.
Robin will check dates with, their secretary, I've forgotten her name now. Sarah, I was gonna say Sandra, but I knew that was wrong. Okay, well, let's have you do that, and you sort of get the idea of what we're looking for.
Yeah.
All right, the SIC meeting, that's in January, right?
No, that's in December.
Oh, December?
That is
Okay.
the, first Thursday, it's the first Thursday in December,
Okay, that's the,
Fifth.
the 5th.
okay.
And so you all wanted to discuss the process,
Mhm.
how it should be set up, because since it's the first Thursday in December, this will be about the time we send out to the SICs asking what their topics are. So we would need to get that to them, but if that's not how you want the process, then we need to kind of decide what that is so we can move forward.
Okay, go ahead.
I wonder if this could be way off base, but the Karen McKenzie group, that,
The teacher
group, whatever, the
Mhm.
teacher group, they identified a couple priorities, right? One of them I know
One
was
was discipline.
discipline, and, So I wonder if I don't know, I was just thinking that instead of adding more priorities on from the SICs, I would think that all the SICs aren't the same thing as the teachers. Never mind,
No.
forget that.
Yeah.
They're the parent,
They're
they're
the
the parent group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Parent.
This is just my opinion, but I think this is on the same page with the literature that you got last year from the statewide SIC organization, is that we should limit the discussion to what is pertinent to a school improvement plan and not any other extraneous topic that the SIC just wants to gab about. I think that's what derailed or made some of the meetings that we've had less than great. So if we have a dialogue about what they want to see in their school improvement plans and what we would like to see in their school improvement plans, I think that would be a fruitful meeting. Otherwise, a general Q&A about the district is not worth our time or theirs, I don't think.
But
Principals can get.
I still think we need to listen to them, because they have concerns, a lot of them are parents, and they have concerns, and I think we should, if they have a concern, then we need to listen to them.
Their concerns outside of the school improvement plan are beyond the confines of the law that established them. And they can deal with their principal on those.
So Earl, do you think it works? I've been to the school improvement, what is it, semi-annual meetings?
Yeah.
Yeah. Both where we broke up into small groups and went in different rooms.
I think it
and-
was better that way.
So do I.
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
better that way.
I think that's good, but
Yeah.
I would also like to not see a discussion of choice. That's a district-wide issue, has nothing to do with the school improvement plan for a school, which is why they exist.
Any comments?
No, just not having, not having experienced one of those meetings before, you know, where it makes it hard to see or anticipate what
Well,
it might be like, you know?
I attend, I attend Hilton Head High School's School Improvement Committee meetings on a regular basis. I'm going to MC Riley's on Wednesday. They're all school specific. They're all, what they're talking about at those meetings really is,
As they should be.
yeah, they're school
Exactly. That's it.
specific. It's not stuff that's really generalized.
Right.
It's school specific, what they see
Good.
needs to be done at their school to improve. So,
As it should be, I
As-
mean,
right.
you know, I mean,
Right.
they're,
That's the whole
they're
purpose.
formed for that school.
right, yeah. So,
So I think that's what makes it hard, is that we bring together this group of people that all have
Different,
issues.
yeah.
Different issues for their school.
What's the format?
Well, we were just saying, it's been done two ways. One, most recently it was done with us like sitting at the dais there, and a crowd of people who could just ask questions pretty much.
And they were the SIC, and who's invited, it's just the SIC chairs and the principals at the
Yeah.
school.
Yeah,
So
that's
it's
who's-
just the SICs and the representatives who come.
And I didn't think that worked very well, especially the last time. It's like they're asking questions about anything, and
Yeah.
you don't
That's
necessarily
what
have,
I'm talking
And you
about.
don't
Yeah.
have the
You don't,
information.
and you don't know necessarily what that question's gonna be. And
or not the specific, exactly.
Yeah.
It's
Or Kathy
it's agenda items that come from them, but you don't know what their questions are on that agenda
Right.
topic.
And how was the other format?
The other format was, the board broke up into maybe, I don't know if there's 11 of us or 10 of us or
So
however
we
many.
had four groups,
Four
like
groups.
four
Four
groups.
Yeah,
and
so
then-
there's like 2 or 3 board members in each room, and then the attendees could rotate in each room and, ask questions more in a small group, really.
Right.
And most of the time they didn't leave because, once again, it was like we asked for 3 questions or asked for 3 topics. So the board members, 2 or 3 board members would be in each small group, and then it was a smaller group conversation, and they covered those 3 topics, sort of like your lesson and learn.
Yeah, that's what I was
And,
gonna
and,
say.
and, and
So in
then they
terms
come,
of-
and then they come out and then report out what was done, just like your
Not,
lesson and
not
learn.
having been through it before in terms of productivity, that second format would seem to me, that would work a lot better.
Yeah.
You know,
And maybe it's the question, I'm sorry, John.
I'm delighted to hear what you have reported about the SICs that you go, because I could tell you stories about SICs who consider themselves a mini Board of Education,
Oh,
you know? And that's something that we have to watch for.
You know, I'm wondering if we could set the question like, the SICs are there to support student achievement, right? So we could say, tell us what your, like you did your lesson and learn, what's working, what do you think as parents is working in your building to promote student achievement? What are the roadblocks to student achievement?
I like formats
Something like
that.
that.
That sounds
where
really good.
They're dealing with groups because it allows for a productive conversation with an end result
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
Because their
moves the needle.
purpose is to support,
Not to put the poor person on the spot, but what do you think your principal should be doing, you know,
yeah, well,
for
what,
this?
yeah.
Because they support the principal.
So it seems like,
What do you think?
oh, I think that's a
Yeah.
real good idea. I think it's much better than what we've
Yeah.
done previously.
Yeah.
Is that kind of like a listening and learning tour.
Yeah, there was a Q&A.
So if you all come up with the 3 questions, and then we can send those to the SIC out ahead of time, so
Well, it
that
could
they
be
can.
similar to what
Yeah.
Okay.
Dr. Rodriguez used for his listening and learning,
Yeah.
learning but related to
To
student
student achievement, what's
achievement.
working well
Right, in your school.
in your school,
Yeah.
yeah. What do you need to make it work better
Better,
in your
yeah.
school?
Yeah, those are exactly.
And-
And the last one was,
Well, for me, how do we work together?
yeah, how to
Yeah,
work
how to
together,
work
there we go.
Yeah,
Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
You know?
yeah, that sounds good, let's just do it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and then
Little
we'll break it out and then go back to the format of breaking them out into small groups again.
yeah.
and then they're gonna rotate, I don't remember the
They
rotation a whole lot.
They
no.
didn't rotate. Now,
Yeah.
board members
rotate.
rotated.
Oh, yeah, okay.
But the SICs didn't. Board members got up and moved from group to group. But that's, sometimes they did, sometimes they didn't, because you got bogged down on the
One thing
questions.
that might be of value as you structure the rooms, right? You know, maybe it's valuable to have them by cluster,
I was thinking that too.
right? Because each cluster might experience the same type of issue, right?
Right.
Regardless of grade level, but there might be the same type of things that they deal with that might be different than another cluster, you know?
Okay.
So we can get at what the needs are per cluster, that's all.
Okay.
Yeah,
There was one meeting where Jim Foster played a very valuable role. He kept moving from group to group. And as they were getting off topic, and some of them were getting really off topic, he would rein it back in. To remind them about what they were there to talk about.
Yeah.
And
well, I say we go in with those, big sheets of
Yeah,
paper
exactly.
already made up with the questions written across the top, and that's their job.
So then the other question would be,
Yeah.
should each of us, should the school board, reps be in the room that they most represent? Or not in the room they most represent?
Personal opinion on
Yeah.
that, personal thought, I think it would be good for you all to rotate around.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, you know, the decisions you make are not just about one cluster.
That's
No,
right.
exactly.
They're about all the
Exactly.
clusters.
We need to hear everybody, yeah.
But it would be good, I think, if they were in their clusters.
Yeah, I think,
And that
yeah.
we,
Yeah.
so just,
we hear enough from our own constituency. It's
yeah,
good
and
to
then they
hear.
rotate.
It's good to hear
That
from
sounds good.
others.
Right.
Okay.
So I asked Kristen to send out, these are the questions. I'll get a location,
The one-
so we try to keep it centralized, like Okatee or in Bluffton or at ACE.
One thought on those questions though.
Yeah.
I think at just about every listen and learning tour, I had the chair from the SIC from at least one or two of those schools. So they will have, in essence, answered those questions in some way or another, right?
But these are specific to student achievement, no?
Yeah,
But,
not anything.
School culture?
I mean, it's
Yeah,
specific
okay.
to student
Yeah,
achievement.
what
I'm not
else?
saying don't
Yeah,
use them, I'm
okay.
saying I just want you to think about
Okay.
it. And we have time,
Yeah,
so,
yeah,
you know,
okay,
I
yeah,
just
all right.
think it's worth a
Yeah,
thought.
okay.
you know.
I have to go, my apologies.
John, come this way. So you don't have to.
All right, and I think we covered, I think we covered the,
So I'll stay in that theme of trying to keep it in Bluffton, or Okeechobee,
yeah, I think
where
that's
it's
kind of central.
centrally located.
Yeah. And I don't think it really much matters because we'll be breaking up into rooms, you know.
Right.
So which
And we're-
place it is, I don't think will matter.
So we're looking at Thursday, December 5th.
Yeah.
It's usually, it's an hour and a half, we go from 6 to 7:30,
Okay.
so.
Yeah, there's normally a start and an end on it, which I
Right.
think is, otherwise
Right,
it'd
we
be
start from
better.
6 to 7:30, so the first hour would be, or 45 minutes would be the small group, and then the last part would be the breakout. Then we go and, bring everyone back together, and they report out.
So everybody can hear kind of what
Yeah.
each
Yeah.
cluster
Yeah.
had to say. Yeah, I think that's good.
Okay.
Alright, I think that covered everything else on there. So,
See, that took care of joint meetings, we talked about future topics.
William, you got something, William?
No, I'm not gonna, no, that's fine.
Okay, so I think we're ready to adjourn if we have a motion.
Do we want to schedule a time for our next meeting?
Yes, we do. So let's look at the calendar. It's the 10th, right?
Yep, it's the 10th.
So it should be the second, I
Second.
think.
Should be Monday, December 2nd.
Mhm. Alright, good.
4:30?
Works for me.
Yep. William?
You said the 10th?
The
No,
second.
that's for the meeting is on the 10th, so we'd meet 8 days ahead of time.
Right. And you said we're meeting Monday the 10th?
No,
Monday, the
no.
2nd.
I didn't hear it.
The board meeting is Monday, December 10th. So,
Tuesday.
I'm sorry, Tuesday, December 10th, so to set the agenda on Monday, December 2nd. The December 2nd date's what we're talking about.
Right. Thanks for the clarification. Okay, okay. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Bluffton Library.
Yes,
Yeah.
they probably would be open by then.
Yeah, let's have Lupton Library. Okay, we haven't been there in a while. Alright. Any other thing we have to set the,
I think I've covered.
I think you covered
For
everything.
Friday, so Friday, I'm gonna send the agenda out, and the agenda, I'm just gonna say strategic governance workshop. And that will
And put your
start,
name there?
and I'll put her name there, and it'll start at 11.
Okay. And are you gonna put like 11 to 5 or 11 to 5:30, or are you gonna put?
I'm not gonna put it in time, I'm gonna put
Okay.
11 o'clock, so that if
Okay.
we start or finish, we just finish.
Okay, alright. Alright.
So that we don't have,
And what time is the breakfast before that start?
breakfast is at 8.
Okay. Alright. Alright,
All right.
motion to adjourn?
I move we adjourn.
I'll second it. Oh, you second it, well, that's fine.
That's fine.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned.